Stand for the invocation.
Our head. Heavenly Father, bless this world that we're in. Bless the people that are in it. Bless Israel and what is going on there and the other world. Bless everybody that's here to let us make the right decisions, Lord. Watch over us and guide us and keep us safe, Lord. And let everybody be healed by your conviction of what you would want. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you. But I appreciate y'all coming out. We'll do roll call.
Glenn Feder
Here.
from Trail.
Tom's got absentee out there. He calls me.
Rhonda Atkinson here. James Fisher. Sammy Queen.
Here.
Tommy Matthews.
Here.
Rick Palm.
Here.
Pat Riker. Ray Sellers.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Mike
Here.
Davis. And you know,
Yes.
Eddie Graham, yeah, and alternate. I'm sorry. That's it. Terry Hester.
Here.
Mickey Olson.
She has people today.
Nate, Victoria M.
Here.
And Bill Bright.
Okay, so what was that? We have 9 board members present. So I'll bring the 2 alternates up, Stephanie and Judy. You already knew that. All right. Okay, board members, make me a motion to approve those that are absent.
Motion to approve those absent?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, you have a copy of the agenda, but you really don't. Not- We actually printed the wrong agenda. Printed said it's
I take
agenda.
full responsibility.
It wasn't something because that's really mad, so don't worry about that.
Wow.
So, board members, you've seen the agenda because it's sent to you. Do a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Motion by Charlie,
Second.
second by
Wayne.
Wayne.
Check your Facebook official chat. You can follow along. I just posted it on there.
Apologize for that.
I'm sorry.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to the minutes. Minutes.
I passed them out.
So members of the time to read the minutes. That was for the September meeting, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Motion would be in order.
Make a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion by Charlie, second by Rick. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to the president report.
Okay. So I passed out August bank statements as soon as I find it.
Having said something.
What?
Yeah, the secretary would like to, append your treasury report.
Yes.
Thanks, Nan.
Yes, I would like to thank you, Nikki, for being secretary for September and again for November. So that gives me time with my kids and thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Glad to serve. Okay. So, banking information for September, this is, at the end of the month. Seacoast checking account was $53,893.01. Our reserve savings account was $30,047.12. And the membership checking account is $28,711.83 for a total of $112,651.96. You'll notice in the center of the page is a note that I had made a call to the bank while out of town to have $20,000 transferred from our reserve account to the checking working fund, and they accidentally took it out of the wrong account. They took it out of our savings account, which is the reserve that we keep at 50,000. So if after I returned on October the 4th, it was put back in there. So everything is as it should be. Yes, thank you. So our monthly checks were 15,155.97. Our expenditures are 15,898.82, and our deposits for the month were 1,878.69. So until we start accepting membership for next year, that's why our deposits are so low, because there's no money coming in.
Board members have any questions?
If you'll notice on the P&L, I just wanted to mention that there was a couple of checks written that in September for 14,150, and that was for the repairs that were done at the large pavilion. Then the checks that cleared, they were actually written in May and June and a couple in September, totaled over $19,000, and that was for tree removal, some cleanup at Point Park and Campground. We had broken locks that Keaton repaired, and then again the construction. So our expenses for Columbia, 19,335 is what that's for.
Is that the end of your report?
Yes, I think, is Carol doing the budget later?
That's under.
Okay, all right, good. That's it.
Board members, we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report. Motion by Greg. Second by Wayne. Discussion on treasurer's report. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
My short is quick. I did a water test, so we have to do every quarter. The first one failed, so I disinfected the well, got another water test that passed. So we're good on that. I'm gonna need a tent put up Friday if I can get any volunteers together to do that with a members meeting and picnic.
What time?
It's about 5 o'clock, what we usually do. Okay, the members meeting will be 1 o'clock Saturday, October 14th. Our barbecue's gonna start at 12 o'clock. It's $8 for adults, $4 for children. I need volunteers.
We have plenty of busy bees
Yeah,
coming.
Okay, for that. And then our Halloween thing will be October the 28th. It starts at 4 and goes to 7. We're gonna have a trunk or treat, costumes. I'll let Lana tell you more about the times, breaks down on that. But that's really all I'm gonna say today.
So you're good to go for Saturday?
Yeah, Doris was Buddy, the one that helped out John, was gonna do the barbecue and all for us, like Big John did.
Any board members have any questions about the members meeting Saturday? Timelines or anything? It's,
Took everything.
you want to go through the timeline on Saturday?
Timeline is, 12 o'clock for barbecue. 1 o'clock, we're gonna be starting the meeting. When I get to my house.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Terry. We'll move on now to the park manager's report, Bill.
Okay, Gates, they'll be at the top of the list all the time, and no doubt. But I have noticed that a lot of times, people are leaving the gates open on purpose, because they'll see me coming, they'll, you know. And also, either that or they're rebelling against or leaving a message to me, because they see me coming and they still, or whatever. So I just noticed, some members, there are a handful, and, nothing I can do about it. You know, the gates are gonna be left open, and I can't be at every gate all the time, so. We had a lock broken at boat ramp. It appears that it was just the lock wore out,
Is that Columbia?
Columbia side. And, so we had to buy a new lock, which I had one. We bought it from Keaton, because when I go over there, I try to buy 2 locks. That way I got one to put on. The cost of replacing a lock, which I've been asked to try to figure out, is about $200 in that area tax. That's including the welding, me going and getting it, time, travel, all, you know. So that's about what it costs if anybody ever wants to know what it costs to put a lock in. Because we got Bill Martin, he does the welding on it, and he did that, yesterday. Still seeing members in the park with dogs. And whenever I question them about it or ask them about them or ask them to follow the rules, it's always an issue. So I would suggest to anybody that has an issue with it to refer it to the ADA service animal requirements. They can get it on Google. That's what we follow. Nothing different. Because people seem to think that a emotional support dog is allowed, and they're not. ADA does not even consider them a service animal.
Neither does the state park.
No, and to make it, that whenever I go to talk to these people, they make it sound like I'm telling them, to go jump in a hole or something. You know what I mean? Or I don't
Worry
have.
about that, just the fact that we confronted it and that you got it because enough repetition. And as we go forward, it's gonna bring more notoriety to it,
Yeah,
and ultimately we'll get to where we want to get. It's just a.
I went down. Just the funny part. I was down there just a couple days ago on Hodor, and the person had 2 dogs in there. So I went down and advised them that they couldn't have their dog down here. I said, it's in the rules right up at the front and da 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 da. And the dog's taking a crap right there. I said, and that's another reason right there. So, oh, we
Of
got
course,
to
they
go.
didn't clean it
Oh,
up.
they didn't have anything with them, but they went back up to the car because I was there and walked all the way back down. And
Good.
Do you get their names?
I don't generally, and I kind of shy away from asking people for names and keys because that just usually escalates the situation because they ain't gonna give it to me if they're mad at me anyway. They don't think that I deserve to get it.
But you do have your camera on.
Whenever there's an issue, I turn, yeah.
That's gonna be very important down the road, all that
Absolutely.
documentation that we have. So we just have to go through the process.
People,
Never gonna get 100%.
like you said, it's not about me. I love dogs,
Believe me, I do.
Yeah. Okay, the fence at Brennan Park has been repaired and trees and all have been taken care of. Thanks, Vern, for that. And we also have the new wall put in, which you saw.
Okay,
Looks good.
And
so y'all repaired the pavilion.
they're very good, yeah. And let's see. The trees in all the parks, we've already got an estimate. They should be taken care of this week. The ones that are broke off, the bigger ones. And from what I understand, I was talking to Vern, he said that the Columbia County is continuing to pick up of trees around that people put to the road. I thought that was over with last
They
Sunday.
got FEMA money, and I think they've got several more weeks of that.
Yeah, and that's wonderful, so,
Yeah, they're making 2 trips, so they'll come back.
yeah, so that's great.
Lincoln County Commissioners agreed to do it through the end of the October.
Okay, good. Well, the old saying is the hurricane, the storm isn't over until the cleanup's done. Let's see, we have new private property signs and they're being installed along the rivers and lock gate signs are being put on by the gates. And then no backing in at Point Park signs. I put some up so far. As I go to them, some of them I'm gonna have to take my ladder and go out in the water, I think, and put them up. I'll ask Glenn to help me with that. Boat Park, and like I said, the Swanee side, the bathrooms are completed. Thank Nathan for that. The porta potty has not been removed over to Brandon Park, and I've called them several times. And I called them this morning. Their phone's not working now, so I don't know what
You
to
said it's
say.
Brennan Park?
Yeah, it needs to be moved to Brandon Park
Okay.
from, and,
Did you speak to anyone?
not, I haven't spoken to anybody in about 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
I've been calling, leaving messages, and then today I called and their phone, their Verizon account, not,
Just call me tomorrow. I'll be on the road. I got to we can talk, but just call me on the road and I'll take care of it.
okay, great. See, as usual, no single vehicles without trailers are permitted in the Columbia County Boat Ramp, which is starting to happen again. Poles were installed around, the cable box out here that keeps getting run over.
Yeah, it looks very good.
Yay, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, Vern. We had some graffiti and 2 pieces of equipment in the new bathroom. Over at, Boat Ramp Park, we had some, graffiti
Swanee County?
on the Swanee side. Then we also had, some graffiti on a equipment box that Charlie put in. We were able to clean most of them all up with no problem and repaint the one in the bathroom. I
We don't
think,
have the cameras on there yet.
no,
Yeah, boat ramp?
they're on now,
They are, okay.
but they weren't whenever,
Okay,
No.
because that'll make a big difference.
yeah. And, I think that's it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Bill. Appreciate you giving us part of the maintenance report. I'll let Tommy finish up with some of the projects that he's been working on and will be working on with us. Next, go around. Tommy?
Well, we finished with the pavilion here at Hodor Park. What's the other projects I've been working
Soon to be.
Oh, the signs, which I haven't
Soon to be.
seen.
Projects. Yeah, somewhat. They're very important.
on? I don't know. What's he talking?
And then we, so we're finishing that, start taking bids on this building here.
Oh, this one? Yeah.
Are you on that committee?
Yeah, we'll work on this. We got to have some discussion about how it's going to come together and all.
All right. Got a lot of disciplines associated with it.
So that changes to the clubhouse will occur this winter when it's in the off season, right?
Well, we wanted to finish that project.
Right.
And this will become the next big
Good.
project.
Because that's
We've been
where
working
we'll
on
have our
smaller
meetings.
projects like the Swanee, boat ramp to the bathrooms, Brennan Park in the budget for next year. So take
Right.
a review of that. And let me just say that a lot of these new things that are happening are as a result of going from about 150 members to 950 members. So we've really got to work on creating less density here in these main parks and create some opportunities for folks to utilize other parks. And they haven't been up to the same standard. So as we do that, we're hoping to encourage more people to start using some of the parks.
Sure.
Some ideas from Bill and Tommy on some things that we can do to enhance some of those areas. Okay, is that's it? Tommy, you did a good job on the, I think you did a good job. There's board members, have y'all seen the?
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I love it.
great.
Fantastic.
They have-
Thank you, but I didn't do anything. I got the check for the contractor.
But they did a great job.
Floor and the roof and the back.
I think you did a wonderful.
Now, and so now it's ready. I guess there hasn't been a sing along there yet, has there?
Not yet.
I'm aware.
That'll be coming along pretty soon. That'll be really nice. Okay, then we'll move on then. Thank you for the report. We'll move on to communications committee.
Alrighty.
That would be Monda.
Okay, we'll go with the membership. So Columbia side's 723 members. That's not new. The Swanee County side's 267s. We're now at 990 members combined both
Wow.
sides. So let's go to the next thing is these proxies, which have blown up Facebook. everyone's got their opinion on use them, don't use them according to our bylaws. You may come in person or you may vote by proxy. That's what we did last year. This year's not an election for anyone, but when it is, they take absentee ballots, but not proxies for that. But if anything were to come up in a vote on our agenda, we have nothing, to be voted on, but should someone propose something, would be the only time that there's a vote. So, but I do encourage people to come up, if this is your time to ask questions, give suggestions. This is the time for the members to come up and you've got the floor to speak. So I encourage all the members to come out. Don't sit back and stay home. Come out and voice your opinion. So these proxies, what a proxy is for those that are unaware, a proxy is giving, so if you're unable to attend the meeting, you're signing a proxy over to someone that you feel has the same values that you would if you were to go to vote. So you're giving them your permission to vote however they wish to vote, hopefully like you would want to. So that proxy has to be turned in to our TREPO secretary, which is Hilda. You can mail it in to TREPO, P.O. Box 148, Fort White, Florida 32038. You can get it to Hilda, get with her and find out when she's available. They're only going to be accepted up until noon on Friday, because we've got to be able to get them all into a spreadsheet to be able to verify them, and then have the list to hand them out on Saturday. So also on Saturday.
Is that the same procedure we used last
Last year.
election? Okay.
So what you have, if you have given someone your proxy and then something changes and you are able to come, you have up until 10 a.m. to pull your proxy back and vote for yourself. So if you've given a proxy, deciding you want to vote for yourself, come and see us. We'll be out at this tiny little pavilion out here behind the gate readers stand, and you can pull your proxy back and vote for yourself. So up till 12 on Friday, last time to accept them. You can pull it back up until 10 o'clock a.m. on Saturday morning. You can start signing in. So our meeting's at 1 o'clock, so you can start signing in at noon. When I say sign in, you'll come and we just need to verify that you're a member in good standing, and you'll be getting a wristband so that when it's time to vote, we know who is a verified member. Also, this gives us the correct count, so we know that we have and met a quorum. We just have to have 5% of 990. So long as we have our quorum, it's a regular meeting. If something were to fall short and we did not have a quorum, it would be an informational only meeting, but we should have no problem hitting a quorum this year. Okay. So the next thing is, you've got the fall festival. What time does your fall festival start?
10 o'clock.
Before you go on to that, back to your proxies, you mentioned that there's nothing that's going to be voted on. We have nothing on the agenda. We have no agenda to vote on anything unless there's something that comes up.
Okay, in doing the summary of the members meeting last year, I noted that very controversial. This is going to be very controversial, so I need to get this answered here. When so many figures were thrown out as to how much the fee was going to be increased on, on members' fees, and the first was $250, then it went to $200, then it went to $125, which wouldn't have covered enough costs. None of those passed. What passed was $150 for this year to be raised for next year. I want you to know that because it's in the minutes and I have to report on that.
Correct.
So that would be something that would be voted on, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But that's us as board members are showing up as members. We're not there as board members. We're there as members. Right. I mean, and like last year, we are the ones that.
So what do we do about that? Do I just,
Read your minutes when it's time, and then it will go from there. I mean, someone would need to bring that up if that were, the way it were to go. But there was, I don't know.
okay,
Carrie, you have a question?
Would that not be part of what we're going to do with the budget?
Yeah,
What we presented here, it's biggest or something.
right.
There will be a vote. There will be something on
There has to be a vote.
Well, except the
That's what I'm,
Budget.
that's what I imagine too, so.
and there's also,
But I'm not gonna hear that. And there's other issues.
Board has to approve a budget to go forward with.
Right.
So that's what this meeting is tonight. That's what we do.
but then all the issues just have to be worked out Saturday.
Alright.
But it's gonna be more controlled this time. We're gonna have a microphone on a stand. It's not gonna be passed around the crowd. If you want to speak, you can come up to the microphone and speak. We'll also have, some papers out there if you want to speak. Put your name, your member number, and what it is you would like to speak to. And, then we'll call on that and we'll just open it. Thank you. All right, oh, look, okay, Fall Festival starts at 10 a.m.
Yes, the 28th, Fall Festival is 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Chili cook-off, vendors here for the members and their guests and their families, if they want to bring them in on their key. Of course, they're responsible for their guests. And we will have the chili cook-off. I need people to sign up for chili. Don't have anybody yet. Sherry didn't want to join because she won it last year. So she said, I don't think that would be fair. She really is a good cook. And so we need vendors. We've got about 10 so far that have signed up. And Tracy is going to do karaoke and open mic from 10 to 2. And then when the Fall Festival's over, then the Halloween kicks off.
All right, the Halloween will start from 4 to 7. DJ Ice Cream Chris will be here doing karaoke. At 5:30, we have a costume contest for adults and children. And last year, if you missed it, you missed a treat because there were some
Oh,
really,
man.
really good costumes, adults and the children. That's at 5:30. By 6 p.m., we'll be ready to do the trunk or treat. So at that time, everyone can, ahead of time, maybe after they're finished with their costume, if it's an adult, you can go ahead and line up outside the gate by your car, bring your candy, a chair. And it was really, really nice last year. A lot of our members came out and to bring your candy and pass it out. And there were lots of children from the area. So that's at 6 p.m. And then right after the trunk or treat wraps up, we're going to have a hayride. And that should conclude the night.
What's the day again?
October
October 28th,
28th.
Saturday. And we have patients to go to our cameras.
Cameras are in and out. A boat right now. So, and there's Wi-Fi down there. Yay. So now, Point Park is next on the list.
Question, boat ramp, Columbia. So are we looking at the gate? Are we looking at all of it? Good,
All of it. You can
Good.
carry it real quick.
good.
We were looking at I can see the gate, boat ramp, parking area.
So we can see who's leaving the gate open, huh?
Sure.
Great.
And with the night vision, I can, whatever, see there too.
So Point Park is next on the list, is that what you said?
Yes.
And they tend to have a habit of just making it look like it's locked.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But that's also how they found out about the lock was not damaged. It just fell apart in one of the members' hands. It was overused, but no one.
But we did catch a person that did break a law.
Oh, that was on.
And we got restitution on that, so that did.
Good.
All right, then we're gonna,
Good job.
Okay. Anything else on your report?
that's it.
Good. Yeah, thank you. Well, let's see.
Oh, let me just go ahead and put it out there. So the second Saturday in December, just so everybody can put it on their calendar, is our Christmas extravaganza. So that is December the 9th. December 9th. And that's when ahead of time we'll get the name of children, their ages, so we can get all the Santa Claus gifts together so they can hopefully take a picture with Santa Claus.
And Mrs. Santa Claus.
If they're available. It's always great.
She's looking.
He's ignoring us.
Don't look at that. I don't hear
You'll do
you.
a good job with all those.
You know, he grumbles, but then he goes, "Oh, those kids are so sweet. They just
They
hug
really
me and
are.
hug me and hug me." And
They'll melt your heart, that's
So,
right.
I mean, it is the fence, it's a long ride from the North Pole.
it is.
The camera
He
shit.
gets tired.
I
All the coffee.
don't know how many kids are gonna be watching this video, but just know Santa's coming a long way for you kids.
That's right.
On the chili cookout, that guy said at the table right there, it's hard, yeah, right there.
Which one?
Need to talk him into it. He's.
Oh, Mike Davis?
I don't know you're good.
Oh.
I don't know. He said, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
didn't mean to put you on the
I
spot.
wrote your name down, Mike.
Thank you for that report. We'll move on to new business.
Sound like I got to do it.
Board members, do you have any new business? Okay, we'll move on to the old business, and that was the,
I have a little bit of new business.
okay, go ahead.
So, lighting is, on my mind because I've always got lights that are shining in on the screen porch where I like to sleep.
Are you responsible for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, night sky, everybody should be aware that we're living out here because we love nature, we love bugs, we love lightning bugs, they hate light. And I don't know whether maybe we could write an article in the paper. I would provide all the information on lightning bugs. That's how I communicated with the neighbor across the street, across the river, who put in, before he built his house, he put like 6 really obnoxious lamps on his dock, his new dock. And I was very kind and I gave him the stay on lightning bugs and he stopped using his lights except for when he is out there with a party, and I don't mind that at all.
Wonderful.
My neighbor now, who has moved into Karen's house, has come up with a very obnoxious lighting thing on his dock, so I will probably approach him the same way. I love my neighbors. I want to do everything I can to, love my neighbors myself and communicate freely, but sometimes I know that I get on their nerves.
You know, they have an ordinance. They have ordinances.
No, that's true.
They have an ordinance on Anna Maria Island that the lights have to be off from dark to dawn for the turtles.
That's right.
That's really about it, every
And it's an
beach.
ordinance, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if we could at least bring attention, positive attention to how wonderful
They
it
just
is.
don't know.
They just don't.
Well,
They
you've
don't
got
know
a convert because I've got 4 8-foot LEDs that I leave on all night long. No.
It's actually a law.
So I didn't know that the like folks didn't like those things.
No,
How do they charge their light? I'm
That's
just
what I
kidding.
thought I was charging them.
I thought they were solar and they were getting charged.
So I'll get rid of that.
no, why don't you
write
us some art on that? Well, okay.
I'm gonna turn them off at
Rick is
once.
gonna help with this.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
If you go by my house, you'll see it. Yeah,
Good thing I don't buy it.
that's why we have to communicate. Okay.
All right, that's it.
All right, we had someone speaking. Who was? Yes, Rick.
New business still, or?
New business?
Yes.
I'd like to move that the board consider moving the board meetings to the Fort White Community Center with an off-duty law enforcement officer present. The rationale for that is there's really 4 emergency egress from this community center. In an emergency. The issue may be rendered moot with the new upgrade to the community center possibly. But it's something to think about for now. Cost would be $175 a night for the Fort White Community Center. And an off-duty law enforcement officer from the Columbia Sheriff's Office would be $50 an hour with $150 minimum per meeting. If there's a fire or an active shooter incident or something like that, a quick egress is critical. And our membership has soared 150 to 980 members. I've listened to Bill Grimm's excellent reports these past several months. There is a history of bad actors in the area. And I also discussed this proposal with a couple of other board members who are not present here tonight. I don't want to name them to indict them into some nefarious scheme here. But I have their support. So anyway, that's my motion and good enough.
So you really want that to be brought up for consideration, and maybe we can put it on the agenda for next time and think about it?
Yeah, whatever the legislative process would be.
That's what I would recommend to
Okay.
do.
Sure.
We can discuss that. I haven't seen the issue, other than if you're concerned for law enforcement, but to relocate to another location is somewhat difficult, I think, for some of the folks that live down here in the neighborhood. But I'm not sure if this is considered to be unsafe. Maybe, Jimmy, you might have something to throw 2 cents into it. What would be different than having a law enforcement officer here if we decided to go that way, as opposed to being in another location?
The biggest thing, I mean, there's, I know how many deputies are assigned to this in the county. So this is a little more remote for them, but not especially. But so other backup considerations really would be a big deal that I could see for the deputy, whether they were working it here or if they were working it up there.
Well, have we received any threats here at this meeting?
Well, I know that at one point in our history, we did hold the meetings at the Fort White Community Center with a law enforcement officer present.
That was back in 2020, 2021.
2021, so that was a couple of years ago.
Yes, and that was a change in board members. That was a change in the community, and I think those issues, I think, have been resolved.
I think they have, and even then it was only a couple of months that we did it.
But most folks that are attending our meetings, I mean, everything here seems to be very orderly.
COVID was an issue then too.
Well, that's true too. COVID was the issue. It was one of the main issues. Yes, sir.
We really should have a limit on the amount of people should be allowed in this building. Whenever I was a fire inspector for many years, and since there is only 2 means of egress, like you were talking about, and the size of the building, there's only allowed to be a certain amount of bodies inside that building. You're an inspector, you know that too. And so my thought would be, find out how many people are allowed in this building for the square footage and the means of egress. So you got windows and everything too, so you're probably covered on that. The problem
This is going to be ripped out, so it's going to almost double the size.
Yeah, so you may not, you need to, since you brought that up, you may want to go and find out what the calculation is. Since you're going to open this all up, you may only be allowed to get
But
certain
please know
amount.
too that in some of the meetings that we had, because we knew we were going to have a large group, we held them at
Well, that's right.
at the
And that's what
pavilion,
you
and
would,
that was another reason for doing
That was my
the work at the
question.
pavilion,
If we go to the
so that we could actually seat more people, and also we could feed more people,
Right.
and actually conduct events there, as opposed to having those large bulky picnic tables that took up all the space.
well, that might be the idea, we get too many people showing up here that people feel uncomfortable for the amount of people in a room.
Right.
You can take it out to the main pavilion, the meeting, say, hey, we're gonna have it out at the main pavilion, everybody just go out and have the meeting. Just some thoughts, but that's one thing I've thought in my back of my head too, is what you're saying is the amount of people in the room. If everybody showed up because there was a real, an issue that everybody wanted to hear about or talk about, you wouldn't fit 900 people in here.
So that was not going to happen.
Well,
I know on one of those meetings, we moved it to the Fort White Center too, because not only was there COVID, but it was extremely cold.
Correct.
And so if you're doing a build out of the clubhouse, we can go to the large pavilion, but if it's in the 30s, we probably need to
What we
move
did
it.
do several times was we don't have weather in the 30s all the time. We
No,
no,
no.
cancel the meetings or put them off to better weather. We have the luxury of being able to do it.
Yes.
So, yes, Rich?
Well, it seems to me that the sense of the board is, really not to go for, I move to table my motion. That's parliamentary procedure.
Appreciate that. Well, we just need to discuss it because it is worth discussing. We have been through some pretty tough times a few years ago. And I think we had to address them the best way we could. Ultimately, getting the pavilion fixed over there the way we have it will easily accommodate quite a number of people. It's very open and spacious. And then we do have a luxury of bad weather canceling. Now, if we get any premonition that there's going to be some threat, which, through the grapevine out here, everything flies. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't take long to figure that out. We would certainly use caution. They'll work with law enforcement wherever we needed to.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Rich. Okay, is there any other new business? Board members? Oh, I'm sorry. We need to move on then to old business. The 2024 budget. I think Vicki and Carol are going to work with that.
Take it away, Carol.
Okay.
Carol, you pretty much got a summary of highlights.
The summary sheet you have in front of you is the color sheet. And what I did was I took each category by breakdown, added it up, showed you where our budget was in 23 again, showed you what our proposed budget was. The only difference in this one and the detailed report that you got last time is that I kind of pulled out items that were significant that needed to be pointed out. So if you're looking at your income, last year, we anticipated that our membership dues was $85,000, and that was based on the number of members we had and the membership fee at that time, and what we had increased to. This coming year, now that we have 1,000, almost 10 away, thank you, Rhonda, for that, 10 away from 1,000, so we prepared a budget based on 1,000 people at the 150, which gave us $150,000 in proposed money to work with. And then the other little accounts that we had. So our income for this coming year would be $152,650. Now, when you go down by category, administrative, we had anticipated last year we had 38,400. This year we have gotten a little bit of a decrease, and that was basically because Charlie's pretty much completed on this side of the river, the security equipment. So his number from last year budget was 20,000. We reduced that to 5,000 for the coming year because there were, I think you said, Point Park coming up next, and then maybe another few that need to be done. So we anticipated probably an additional 5,000 this coming year. The extra administrative fee that we were anticipating, our legal fees have jumped from 6,000 up to 10,000 to cover costs and things that are going on now. Then we also have the go down to maintenance in Columbia County. We actually just stayed the same. That just means our account, our budget for electrical, all the things that we normally pay for every year in your Columbia County budget, which is your bookkeeping, your computer repairs, your insurances, your legal fees, postage, office supplies, special board meetings, and all that. We went to that number I just gave you. Then in Columbia County, our fees were anticipated, which is electric, garbage collection, your janitor, your supplies, your maintenance labor, your mowing, those kind of items. So those all pretty much, we anticipated those same expenses this coming year, so we kept that budget at the same price. Then in Suwannee County, we anticipated this year, because we are going to have portalettes, which we haven't had in the past because we are trying to move. I assume the portalettes are going to the other part because there's no bathroom at that facility. So like Glenn said, we're trying to expand and make our parks more accessible to more people. And obviously you need to have a restroom there. So the portalettes was probably one of the bigger expenses in Suwannee County this coming year. And then the remodeling and renovation of what you're working on now. Bathroom renovation is, like you said, it's almost completed, but there are other anticipated costs which will be building that up. So Suwannee County did increase almost $10,000 from our current budget up to 26. Move on into our member.
The remodeling renovation too is going to be a bigger project that is Brandon Park.
Right. So
So that's why we increased that budget from 8,000 to 15,000. Then your, membership budget, pretty much stayed the same. There was a few little increases of, $100 here, $100 there, so 23.7 based on that, based on what we're spending this year.
I think that was mostly postage, because we anticipate postage going up.
Yeah, and then you can see the details on your report that you got last month. But yes, I believe it was the, look at it real quick. It's actually your newsletter went up about $500 because we have the increase in the membership. And then the cost of keys, of course, went up because we're having more members. We got more costs for them, for those brass keys. They're not cheap. So your expenses there were pretty much just in keeping with what our expenses are. Then we move into park management, which is really a big deal because of the fact that our regular expenses for our other accounts went from 89 up to the 91.6, which is really just some increases in mileage and some of the supplies that we did. The biggest expense that we're running into for the next thing is our readers have not had a raise in several years, and we know that minimum wage has moved up from what it was, and the increase goes in, I believe, in January. Is that what I'm told? So we decided that we needed to.
It should already be in
September. So we won't see that increase, and we won't see that need to use that fund until obviously next time we start using our readers. So it's not going to anticipate, we're not anticipating spending that money right away, but we do need to put it in the budget and be prepared for it. So that's why you're going to see about a $9,000.
For adding another gate.
And you're actually new people because we've got to have people over at the Swanee Park.
Right.
So we anticipated, now this, like I said, a budget is just a recommendation of what we project we're going to spend. Obviously, and you'll notice, that we have projected and put in a budget a $50,000 expenditure for capital, $55,000 for capital. And to my knowledge, we haven't spent $55,000 even this year for capital. So that's something that will happen. We won't obviously do the project till we have the income to do it. But yeah.
People need to understand that $91,000 is not what I make, because
No.
I get people asking me.
That's everything on this list. So everything in park management is a building repair project, the capital improvement, the greeters income, the park repairs that we do, the park signs that we have to participate and provide. Professional security, like you were talking about, we have to have some extra people. We do have a budget to pay for some security when we need it. The tree co manager, actually, the funds are still the same. And that's 20,000 is what we budgeted. And then we did increase the mileage, park expenses, and taxes because obviously there is going to be some taxes included on some other people that are participating that we may have to pay their taxes on. So we did increase that a little bit. So that is what's included in that 91.6. Now, like I said, a part of that went into 18. But part of the biggest add-on that we are having, and this was suggested by our lawyer, was that we should actually hire an HOA manager, property clerk. And what that means is that this board would no longer be totally responsible for all the records and all the goings on.
The board is always responsible.
Well, we're not going to be the ones handling all the original initial paperwork. It will always be presented to the board, obviously.
That's because the reason is because we're having a significant number of
Requests.
public record requests. We're dealing with outside attorneys who are requesting this, so it costs to us. When people challenge the board for this, we have to make sure our attorney's in place. Very expensive, but we've got to go forward with that. So this board is all volunteers. And I commend everyone on this board for your time and energy and efforts, but we can't do it all. Everybody's got lives, you're volunteers. So we've got to go to the next step to put the right people in place who can actually file those things, get all the documents done, be sure that all the records are where they are, because we've been chasing this for a couple of years, trying to go back to some previous times, getting all this stuff on file. So that's a recommendation that I think that'll allow this board the time to look long range at the vision of what we really want the community to be, instead of chasing all of these loose ends that we're having to chase, and make sure that that we protect the members from lawsuits.
And where is that going to be? That's the 60 grand.
That was the 60, this is a project, that particular number is a number that we were given based on the fact that that's what most HOAs of this particular size, that's what they would probably charge our HOA for doing those services.
We have a minimum amount, so I just want to go back to the legal, there's a minimum amount there of about $10,000 for legal.
Yes.
If we're challenged in court in some of these things, it can go up to 20, 30, 40,000. That may mean that we do have a couple of things pending right now. But that could very well mean that, the board would then have to go back and amend our budget for the year, take something from some other project area. We do have enough, that's why we have the reserve and these or contingency dollars in place that we can use. So, we kept that number low, but if we're challenged, we're prepared to take on that challenge. Yes, ma'am.
Should we have a management company? Would they have their own attorney handling?
No.
Okay, I just wondered.
And the board would still be, management company, the board would still be totally responsible. So it would be up to the board to make sure that that management company
Exactly.
is managing and handling those affairs, because there's a lot of situations across the state of Florida, management companies that not doing too good of a job. So,
Right.
so it's our job to ensure that they do.
And if we went that route, we would get bids on companies that do that. We wouldn't just,
Yeah.
I mean, I know we put a
We're
rough number in there, but that could change.
Very talking to two or three right now.
Good.
Anyway, based on those numbers and the proposed numbers, based on our budget expenses, before you get to securing a position of a property manager, our expenses are $230,040. The proposed income was only $152,650. So that's going to give you numbers that you're going to be needing to look at to increase and to be able to find a way to fund the additional $137,390 for this budget. So, with that being said, obviously, like I had said last year and like I'll say today, these are budgeted numbers. These are numbers that you have to work with. And once you reach a certain point, then you have to decide which projects you approve and move forward with, and which ones you have to put on hold. Obviously, as a board, we're not going to spend money we don't have. So the proposal is going to be, if you approve this budget moving forward, that you're going to look for ways to come up with the project money that you're going to need to complete the budget.
Okay, board members, do you have anything else, Carol? Board members, you have any questions of Carol?
Very good.
So we have no questions, the direction we're looking to move forward for next year? Okay. We have a motion to approve the budget. Motion to approve the budget. Motion by Charlie,
Second.
second by Kathy.
Discussion.
Further discussion, yes.
What, I mean, should we start thinking about raising the dues?
That's what I also think,
Okay.
Well, that, this brings me back to the discussion that we already have in the minutes that the dues were going to be raised again this year. So we just need to decide how we're going to go about trying to get that done.
my question was, what come up with the extra funds that we're gonna do, or we thinking about that we're gonna have to, like Thomas said, raise the dues again, or not the dues, the
So was,
membership dues.
yeah, so
I mean, for with what the budget we're working with, and we gotta come up with all this extra money. So-
Right.
So, yeah,
In round number figures, that's $300 per member.
right.
Correct.
Done.
If you
Right.
get-
It is.
That to the total?
That's what I came up with.
if you do $300 times 1,000 people, that, doubles it 150. That would come up with the money that we would need.
Correct.
But I think needs to be under discussion. We might ought to bring it up in front of the meeting Saturday.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Tell them, this is what it's gonna take. I know a lot of people are not gonna like us having to hire a HOA, but this is what we need to do to keep all these.
So that number is about $25 a month. Is that right?
Right. Right. I want just all this doing it. Yeah.
You're that big
Bobby,
now.
first.
Just that large?
Yeah,
Let Bobby.
I know for, like, when I first got on the board, Glenn had talked about a management company and I was totally against it. Totally against it, because I think we don't need it. But our membership has grown exponentially. If we had 200-300 members, it would not be something we needed. We're now pushing 1,000. I'm putting 30 to 40 hours of time, and it's my volunteer time a week. I mean, it is consuming me.
And Terry.
And Terry, yeah. So between, and how much time are you putting in with yours and you with your, I mean, it adds up. And yes, we are all volunteers, but it's consuming our lives. We no longer have a newsletter person. So Rick and I pulled out we took what she had and kind of revamped it. And I think that's what, we'll do going forward. But I mean, it's time consuming. So I am all on board because they like the agenda tonight. I mean, I can only do so much and I am burning the candle at both ends. Enjoy it, but it's somebody else's.
Not only that, but even the 2018 case, the lawsuit that we have for a situation in
Right.
our park. We've got hundreds of hours of discovery working with both attorneys, depositions, and so.
Going back in old newsletters, going back.
I mean, the work that we've had to do, and then you still aren't going to, it'll be a while before we get to court. But a couple of us will be going to court and having to deal with that. Well, having a clerk and an HOA manager, they would manage all of this for us. They would get everything ready, get those documents ready, keep those documents filed. And it's unfortunate, but we've gotten very large. It's not the same quiet little community in the woods anymore. And there are requirements that we have to have. The fact that, especially public records requests, all these public records requests, they're going to be more and more and more. And it is a nuisance, but it's necessary. It's the law. So we're going to continue to punch and get that down in the process that it needs to be done. The board, while we're responsible for all that, I want to go back to this one most important thing. We got a beautiful river out here. We've got nice neighborhoods. We got nice people. Our job should be able to be free from a lot of that burden and focus on the quality of life in the community. What can we do to make the river better? What can we do to protect our members? How can we all come together and create programs that assist our members, our elderly members? I'm one of them. And it's getting worse every day. So what I'm saying, these are most important things that we've lost touch with. And I think that it may be a little bit of a burden to try to come up with a dues of $250 or $300 a year. But my gosh, go get a place at the beach or
Sun City
somewhere else.
Center.
You're going to pay $500, $600, $700 a month. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be that. And that is while I might sit here and say that's a very low number, like right now at 150 or 300, I don't mean to cast any negative towards anyone, but for what you get, as we begin to put these cameras in, we begin to process these things that are necessary to create safety, create parks that people want to bring their children to, they're comfortable with, hopefully run off all the rowdy folks, the ones that are breaking the rules. And as we get a property manager, we get more consistent with our rules, the things that we've been saying that we want to get done, it's all of us wanting to get it done, but who's in charge, really, at the end of the day? And when do they change out, and how does it change? We have to have somebody with their finger on it all the time that represents exactly the intent of what the board wants to do. So that, I'll set my 2 cents, but that's how I feel about it. Yes, Vicki?
In a perfect world, with all the property owners on both sides of the river, if everybody paid their dues, we wouldn't have to raise the dues. I wish there was a creative way that we could come up with to encourage neighbors that are not Trevo members to pay their dues.
Okay, well, let me address that. The fact that we now have an attorney that is an HOA attorney, this is what they do. It is their job as we can begin to move into having someone do the duties. We can begin to work with our attorney to let's go back through all of our deed restrictions, our rules and regulations and so forth. People have expectations of the property that they bought. When you bought your property and here it says you can do this, this, and this. Some things need to be modified, changed, some don't. However, you bought this place with the intent to be able to do what you believed you were doing when you bought the property, that you wanted to do when you bought the property. A lot of this stuff is getting circumvented because we don't have the teeth in it. We have someone who manages the day-to-day affairs. We have an attorney who can interpret it. We go to the court system, we file the injunctions in the violations, and we do what we have to do. No one wants to punish anyone.
No.
But when you get out here and you get stupid, yeah, you need to be punished. There needs to be some action taken because 95% of our folks down here are good people who are law-abiding, who do what they're supposed to do. It's that 5% that whine and complain and cry all the time about nothing, who will not obey the rules, who tear up the property. That's what we have to work on. And then we want to keep the situation safe. That's the most important thing that we can do is make sure these parks are safe with the cameras and locks. And we'll be expanding more and more to make sure that the wrong people don't come through our properties. Now, can we fix it all? Hey, no, you can't fix it all. But the more we're focused on what we're going to do as a community and a team, the easier it will be for us. We won't win all the time, but we're going to win most of the time. Okay, that's how I feel about it. So any more questions on the budget?
Could you
So we'll-
repeat the motion?
The motion was to approve the 2024 budget as proposed. Now, this is the budget that the board wants to present, and that would require that we have about an $85 increase or $90 increase. I'm not sure what that is. That's what this is. Am I correct? Oh, it's 150. I'm sorry, my math is really. Pardon me?
It's 150.
Okay.
It's
My mind-
$60 a month for the property manager side of it.
Right,
The additional funds for the other
Right,
side.
and I'm going to tell you straight up, we will be amending that because of legal fees. There's just no doubt about it. And because we are going to be filing some injunctions. And we still have a low number there, so that I'm sure that we will, but we may have to amend our budget. So I'm not sure how to handle the increased part at this time. Is what the board wants to present. If we present this budget, then we're stating clearly that our membership dues would go up if we present this budget or approve this budget. That's primarily what that's saying, is it not?
Yeah, effective January.
Yes.
We see it that way? Okay.
Yeah, because this is a 2024 budget.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It has to be effective.
Exactly.
Have to be effective January.
So you need for lunch, yeah.
Okay, so we have yes, Sam.
Do you think we ought to do a motion there or wait till after the meeting Saturday?
We're going to present the budget
And
Saturday.
then, yeah, okay, well, if you accept it here, well, we can't, then it's done, right? So do we,
If we accept this budget, well, we actually didn't officially take a membership vote, so a membership increase vote. So I'm a little bit stumped on that. I don't have my parliamentarian here, Bill.
right,
So
so we want to discuss it first with the general public.
Right.
Our public
Right.
down here.
As a board, you have the consensus that you want to present this as your budget.
Right, okay, yes.
Well, the budget-
You have to vote
Okay,
the
that's
board
fine.
The board will vote to approve this budget.
To bring it in
present
front.
it to the
Right.
membership
Right.
for the.
Then we will, then we'll do what you said.
Before we approve this budget, with your concern about legal, why don't we figure out how to increase that before?
We have some contingency dollars, and I think we'll be all right with the contingency dollars. We'll just have to watch what we do.
Okay, so that, so the legal should at least say, this is what we, plus. the
We wanted to show an increase here, and that's an unknown, but
Okay, because I know.
Unfortunately, with everybody getting lawsuit happy, they're gonna have to raise it to cover attorney's fees.
Yep.
So I know they're trying to protect their community. Unfortunately, they're costing their community.
That's what I thought, and that is not clearly stipulated.
right.
And
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the budget. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Direction.
Charlie made the motion and Kathy made the second.
Thank you. That was well done.
So
I got your back.
Shame.
I did, you know. Trying to find the last part of the meeting here, so bear with me. Okay, so we've finalized the old business. So right now, we'll open up the floor to comments.
That's what it's gonna be.
I like that.
Yes, yes.
A question, can we know how many lawsuits that we're facing in the association? Are we allowed to know that?
Sure you are. Sure. We have a lawsuit that goes back to an incident that happened in 2018. First part of that lawsuit was settled a few years ago. The second lawsuit is still pending. And we're actively working that. We will know if we'll be in court later in the year. The second lawsuit is just communications with an outside attorney who's it appears a member of Trevo is filing for records. And there's potential that this lawyer wants to sue. So we have been gathering records for quite some time now. So we're moving on to the next stage. If that happens, then we will move into that mode in that particular case. That's the only two cases that we have right now.
My other question, have y'all filed taxes? I know on August 25th, y'all still hadn't filed any taxes.
All the 1120Hs for going back for our years of 2020, 2021, 22 are filed. The prior chairmen and presidents of the board are not filed.
When did that take place, that filing? You know,
When were those filed? We finally finalized those, a few weeks ago? All of those are filed. Those are on their 1120H. Right. Primarily, what that filing is, it's a bank balance at the beginning of the year. It's income and it's expenses, and it's bank balance at the end of the year. And that's pretty much a single page document that indicates that it's taken directly off the bank statement. And so those are all done. Any other? Yes, ma'am.
Talking about signs, there's signs when you go into the parks, and I know along the edge of town, you see signs as you're getting out. But on the Santa Fe, on the boat ramps, I don't see signs that you could see when you're in a boat.
I think that you have those now.
I have the signs. And I've already talked to several people over there. One's already been put up at your gate. You may have seen it. The other ones, we're deciding if we're gonna put poles in or we're gonna put them on those two big cedar trees out there,
Cypress.
or cypress trees.
So you can see it when you're in the
Build it
river.
like-
Right, absolutely.
We went by there Sunday and couldn't find a sign to make sure that without looking at this.
Yeah, they're private property signs. They're gonna be one, I'm gonna put one on each of those photos.
But it has the,
Three Rivers Estate, yeah. Three gonna say boat ramp on it? Yeah.
If they don't say boat ramp on
it has our logo.
them. No, just our logo.
As long as it says Three Rivers.
Well, let me say this, you know, that may be something we should have done, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because, we went to the trouble of working with Columbia County, data center, or whatever it is, and got addresses for every one of our parks for safety reasons.
Right.
So there are accidents that happen on the river.
Right.
And when someone says, there's been an accident, you need to take the so-and-so address, and it's the boat ramp, so we really should have that address.
Well, we can
And
put
what that
a,
is, if we, that would be very important, especially for folks trying to bring someone to get help or
well,
assistance.
the address, now I'll put, where the ambulance would be, the address is on that sign,
Correct.
okay? Now, down by the water, the address is not, and now Three Rivers Estates logo and that's on there, on that sign.
It says private park,
Private
members
park,
only.
right,
Right, but there's other parts. We don't know if someone's in an emergency.
okay, I understand, they're gonna
Coming
call
up
up
the river,
FWC.
This
or-
place, if you don't know this place, if you
Yeah.
walk in one day, it takes you years to find out, or used to anyways.
You know, I think it's a great idea anyway to put maybe half the size of the signs that we have right now at each of the boat ramp, at each of the parks.
I don't think it needs to be that large,
Okay.
because we're looking at that from an emergency standpoint. The street side is where people, more volume of traffic.
Whatever the board wants to do.
So what we probably need to do
That's
is
our
go to our
sign
sign
guy.
expert, our sign person.
Just when you thought you had them right.
Let's go to our sign person. We'll get your opinion, in the meeting, and we'll get this resolved.
Give me some money.
Okay.
Some money.
Yeah, he's out of money.
Hand me that sign.
Grand Park, got it.
Okay, so, could you?
Yes, sir.
Name so I can-
Am I under the impression of everyone buying property now cannot
And look.
turn down paying a member, you have to pay a member now? Is that correct?
That's correct. It's always been out.
It's
always
It's always been that way?
Yes, it was never,
No, not always, but.
it's in the bylaws, but it was never enforced.
It's in your deed, I think, that you are a member.
No. I just know there's a lot of people that are not members.
Yeah.
I was wondering how that was
If
possible.
you have property here, you're a member, but if you haven't paid, you're not a member in good standing. See, there's property owners that own property, and they're members. You buy property here, you're a member. Mr. Hodar set up a corporation to manage the day-to-day affairs and manage the parks. That requires dollars. All members are supposed to pay a minimum. It has never been enforced. It will probably be looked at now that we have legal counsel who will be able to go through and interpret what we have and give us a direction that we can go.
They can be
And when we
sued,
put a
just like
manager
the
in
rest of
place,
us.
they will work
Even though
together
they're not in good
to help us
standing.
facilitate
Right?
what we need to do.
They
So
are
no
members.
more grandfather then.
Well, nobody's ever really been grandfathered in.
That's
That's the
the
mentality.
verbiage I hear.
Yeah, I,
We're grandfathered then.
yeah, there's a lot of words out there.
I just want what I hear, I'm trying to.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, Chaz.
Yeah, like if you read in the bylaws, it clearly tells you, like, everyone should hold their share. I mean, and if it was divided amongst everyone, we wouldn't be paying such a large fee.
I agree 100%.
But so the newsletters that just went out, we sent over 1,700 out because it went to all property owners in both counties.
So let me just say this, you can see the direction that we're having to go to get this organized. When we were 150 folks running around here stealing crazy, it was fine. Sure. But now we're 990.
It's 1,000.
And
growing.
a lot of these folks coming in here don't think the same way we do. So it makes it a little bit, not that it may think bad, but it's a little different. So we've really got to get things organized so that we can move forward. And the thing that we really miss, I'm gonna say this again, is You miss focusing on the vision for the community. I mean, when you buy in here, this is for life. You buy in here because you want to live here, you want to hopefully die here, and you want to have good friends. You don't want rowdy folks. You want the board working with whatever agencies to make sure that river's clean and clear and safe. And the woods are that way. So I just reiterate that again.
Well, the last thing I wanted to say with what I was saying is that I'm a younger guy. I know that you guys have way more insight than I do. But just from 2020 till today, everything is doubled. You're a fool if you don't think it has. So how can I run a budget off of something that was put together in 2021 and you're just going off numbers? Nobody foresaw this, everything trickling in costs. No one did. So we don't like it. But this is what you got to do if we want to maintain the beauty, we want to maintain this, we want to keep track of. How do you do it?
Right.
I mean, it's not right.
Well, the other thing too is there's a lot of folks that don't have places that they can go. We get this building here fixed up. They can have small events in here, family events and whatever. We can actually make this nice to enhance some folks who can't. So, okay, any more? Is that it? Yes, sir. What?
I had a couple of questions just about the management company. First of all, I was wondering if there was anything y'all had as far as it's more cost effective to have a company come in and do that versus you guys hiring somebody and creating a position. I didn't know if that was or was not, so I thought
I think through our discovery process of going through this, it's going to take us a few months to get this done. I think through our discovery, then that point has been brought up.
Yeah.
So, but through our discovery process, we will make determinations, bring it back to the board, and make a decision that we think would be best for the organization. We have to be very, very careful. Sometimes it may be better. We don't need somebody too big. Even though we're big, we're small.
Right.
In the scheme of things. I mean, we've got a lot of people, but we're really a small budget community. We don't have all the frills that a condo has with hot tubs and swimming pools and all that stuff and common properties that they have to deal with. Our common properties are our parks. They're a little bit easier than a condo build. So we will be addressing that.
Yeah, so
Yes, yes.
I think
It's not, we're not just walking here with somebody. We're coming here with the proposals of what we think might be the best way to go.
We're spread out on 2 counties too.
Yeah, that's right.
Another.
Yes.
What if that is
So,
understanding?
all right.
It's easier for us to manage
Any-
the parks
yes,
than
yes, ma'am.
condo.
Yeah, no.
I think it's harder for us because we got.
I don't want to bring this one way, but when you're finding folks in parks with dogs, and they're off leash, and you explain, they need to find leash. Shouldn't that be a point in time for you to call law enforcement to have them escorted off of our property if they're breaking our rules, having a dog, and they're not going to listen to our property manager, who is trying to explain to them that this is a certain animal does not go off leash.
And you're exactly right. It's a very delicate issue because they actually are members. We have these rules, but the folks are skirting around the rules. We're trying to work with law enforcement, but law enforcement doesn't have any teeth in it either because of the circumstances that we're dealing with. So here's what is going to happen. We need our lawyer, which we have in place, that we are working regularly with. And we will be able to file injunctions or file with the court on individuals. We will get a court opinion. And when that court opinion comes, that will be our law. And then we will basically be able to do something with that. But right now, it's very, very difficult because HOA rules as it relates to people who own property as members is a lot different than just having somebody trespass in my yard.
These people are members, so it's considered a civil issue, and the SO won't do anything about it. So
Their hands are tied to
their
it.
hands are tied. They won't do anything. I've called them. I call them for several things, mooring boats on them, everything.
And so what we have a plan that we're working on with that. That's why you hear us say, document as much as you can, get the pictures, get the audio, let us get this, our lawyers are waiting to file. That's what we're trying to say. Once we get these filed and go to the court system, it's gonna give us the teeth to do what we need to. Sheriff's office is gonna look at that and say, excuse me, but court says this is what it is. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
I
trying.
can't escort them off the property and he can't escort them off the property. We can't do that.
Now, if I've seen a dog that was aggressive or something, I've told people, I'll be out of line, but I said, you gotta leave. Because you're carrying these kids. I've had dogs in the water with the kids scared,
Right, yeah, oh, yeah.
you know, so.
If there's somebody threatening, that's doing something illegal, that's threatening an individual, yes, sheriff's office will be right there. They'll help us with it. But right now, we're doing all that we can do under these little civil things.
Right.
We're getting to, that's what we gotta do to get there. Okay, let's, anything else?
I was just gonna say that I think if the board communicated a little more with members as far as where like our cameras concerned, gates being left open, blocks being broken, things of that nature, that if the members are informed that, hey, this is what happened this week, and this is the consequences of what this member did.
That's
the
direction.
That would help, you know, I mean, let the members know that, hey, money.
They could literally lose their membership.
Actually helping.
Once this happens, they could literally lose their membership, but we've got to go through the legal channel first. And then to lose their membership, then they'd be trespassing.
Right.
See where I'm coming from?
Yes, just long and drawn out. I mean.
We got plenty of video documentation for him to use.
Yeah, right. We're working on it. Is somebody saying something? I can't hear them.
Donald.
Oh, it's John. Okay. John.
As an owner and a member in good standing, I would like to have a copy of the agenda, the minutes, the financial and the proposed budget that's been passed tonight.
Sure. We'll get it for you.
And also, Charlie, is there any way could you make me a PDF copy of the newsletter? I haven't gotten it.
Yeah, I put it online. You can download it. Take them out.
The first newsletter was received today by someone.
We got ours.
So check your mail.
Downloaded mine.
I went over to your house.
That's just down to it.
Our website is not secure, and then it won't let our computers download anything else.
It's extra.
Well, then was that your security preference?
Okay, hang on. We're going about to wrap this up.
Hang
on. Yes, ma'am.
I tried to look up the minutes on your info.net and they're way behind, so I have to get the minutes on. Something very timely manner.
I don't know whether they ever went through when I sent the last batch. We were having a hard time. I was sending them in and they weren't being.
And let me address that. And so that's the reason that we're wanting to go to a manager. And it will be their total responsibility. They won't be volunteers. That will be their responsibility to ensure that all of that information is up there. Because we're all volunteers trying to do.
So don't we pay somebody $100 to look at that? These are volunteers, don't we pay?
No one's paid.
No, that's not the same
Payment
thing.
is for the back.
Hilda, post her secretary's report. I post on the website the financials.
No,
that's what
that's not even that Facebook.
That's over here.
Which thing? Because I was looking at the minutes, so.
All right, we're getting a little bit out of control here.
Yeah, I need to explain something.
Okay, go ahead, Charlie, explain.
Sure, if you would like to know. $100 that is sent to me actually doesn't even cover half of it, honestly. But that covers posting, that covers if I'm away, I have somebody on backup that's outside of this community that if I have to pay them to do an update or fix something in the back end. That pays for the MailChimp to send out all the electronic emails and stuff like that. That pays for the subscription to DNS filters to make sure that the parks are kids friendly and nobody's looking at pornographic websites while sitting in a park.
Which we have shut down.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have. And that part of that money is going to do that. Part of that money is going to video software so that we can do things like these nice videos that we're placing out and things like that. It's actually costing me about $190 a month right now. But, I am a man of my word and I agreed that $100 would cover it and $100 will cover it this month. So I said,
Well, yeah, I mean, I would just, he's the one that, I just said.
Well, we're good. Everything's good.
And I'd like to mention something.
All right, we're having discussions. I'm fixing to close the meeting. Yes, ma'am. One more thing and that's it. We're gone.
Charlie has done all the installation for our cameras and security and not charged us one dime for all that installation and pulling cables and all of that.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
Adjourn.
Right, thank you.